Hello, folks. Welcome back to the program. It's Chris live in central Pennsylvania for this unusual conversation here. Gosh, Reuben's head is so large. Mine looks so small there. We'll try to get through this. Listen, first off, I just need to let you know that I did not elicit this conversation. I did not reach out to anybody in South Africa and ask them to come on and talk about this. Reuben has concerns that he wants to share with other refugee aspirants, and he asked for a forum to discuss it. I know that a lot of people feel that they're in this situation. It's newsworthy, and therefore we're going to talk about it. So Reuben is not here to attack anyone or any institution. He is just here to relate his concerns from his perspective, a perspective that many South Africans may find themselves in. And with that, a couple things. Number one, please keep the belly aching down in the chat. We know that you haven't come over, and that's why you're watching the chat. So that really doesn't add to the conversation. If you've got a legitimate question, you might ask it, and if I catch it, I'll add it to the conversation. Number two, his signal just got better, but his internet has been kind of dodgy this morning, and he's had to switch devices multiple times, so apologies for the late start. I have to depart here at the bottom of the next hour to get to work on time at the War College today, so we'll have to cut off at a certain point, even though I suspect we can have a 3-hour conversation on this topic. With that said, welcome to the program, to the viewers, and welcome to Reuben. Thank you for coming on. And one mistake, I misspelled his name on the thumbnail. I'll correct that probably over the weekend. But in the meantime, Reuben, welcome to the program, and thank you for asking to have this conversation. I think that it's something that you really feel passionate about and you want to discuss.
Yes, definitely. Well, firstly, thank you, Colonel, for all the work you've been doing. You are the Superman for us that just want a better life for ourselves. And everything you say and do, we try our best to follow what you say and what you do for us. And so from my side, what I've picked up is you receive a lot of feedback in the beginning. So you initiate with the program, you get your interest, you get everything going. Let's be honest about it, this is not a secret anymore. The world knows about this refugee program. It's not a secret anymore. And that's why I feel confident enough to show my face, show who I am. I'm not scared, to be honest. I'm scared for the persecution, yes, but I'm not scared to show that, you know what, I'm fighting for a better future for us as South Africans. And what I've picked up is with the program itself, it initiates, and then you have a month or two or so that you're waiting for the first initial call. Then you get your initial call. Then everything else falls into place quite quick, quite fast. You get everything going. Now, just also a bit of background, we are a part of the limbo cases. My case is a part of the limbo cases where it's gone radio silence, where we, for a couple of months, haven't heard anything, but then we see other people that like are close friends and families that have applied and they've gone over already. So we just feel that like we're not really getting our feedback, we're not getting our answer, but I don't want to jump onto that just yet. So,
well, Reuben, let me jump in very quickly here for that.
Yes.
Okay, so do you have any concerns? Is there any legitimate reason that might be taking place, that may be something in your background or someone in your family, or any health issues? Nothing like that in your case?
Nothing like that. We as clean as a whistle, Colonel. We are clean as a whistle. I'm newlywed, baby that's 1 year old now, and nothing shows, or they haven't given them reason for them to not give us a feedback 6 months later. And again, I understand these programs can take up to years, can take up to 2-3 years for a case to be to go over. But then when you're sitting back and you're seeing everyone else around you are moving so quick with the program, you feel, and I'm on a lot of groups, Colonel, and I'm seeing everybody messaging and their tears and they're crying. They've lost their homes now, they've sold their homes, they've sold their vehicles, they've taken money and put it into a kitty to live off just this little bit of time before they go over. And I know you've also said that guys, carry on with your life as normal, which I agree with. You try to do that to an extent, but if you put yourselves put yourself in our shoes, where we are, for example, we get an email from the company, the representatives, can I say it like that? I don't want to pull out names or anything. And you get in the email, it states, be ready to travel within 2 to 4 weeks. Now, any human being, if you get that type of message and with an approval, you're immediately going to be, okay, things are in the roll, things are happening. I need to move and I need to start clearing my life up here in South Africa so that I can go over and start a new and safe life. And I've seen a lot of the people on the groups in that that have actually gone and done that. They've actually gone and sold their houses. And just by having that emails come to them, I mean, I'm not even talking about the people that have got tickets and then tickets cancelled, and then it's just a step before the tickets even. People are getting the approvals and then they rushing to go and sell everything and get rid of everything. They're putting their money into the bank, and then they're like, okay, we're waiting, and then a month goes by, 2 months go by, 3 months go by, nothing's happening, and they already started eating up their monies.
So, Reuben, let me interrupt here for a second, and this is going to hurt some feelings, and it's not intended to, but I'm going to ask the following question. I have been doing this since 2 hours after Trump announced his refugee program last year.
Yeah.
I've analyzed this program in an opaque nature from the U.S. government, not revealing information that was critical for people who are interested in the program, not telling people what's going on, never even announcing that it was a pilot program, which is a proof of concept, which is what I called it. Eventually, they started using my language. My analysis, despite lies from other people, have been proven time and time to be correct. I have had over 10, 12, 20 million people who've watched my program as a consequence of the refugee program. Why is it that people are ignoring my advice? The letter, I've seen the letter that comes from USCIS. It does not say 2 to 4 weeks. Now, I understand a message comes from RSC, and that says be prepared in 2 to 4 weeks. But I have warned people from the outset, and this is why I'm exasperated with this. That does not mean you're leaving in 2 to 4 weeks. I don't know where people fall into this trap. Is it because people are existing in WhatsApp and Facebook groups and people are telling this? I've got my approval letter. I'm leaving 2 to 4 weeks. That is not true. How has this come about? Because I've tried to prevent people from making these huge mistakes. Huge mistakes. Yes. I'm exasperated. Since you're in these groups and I'm not in them, do you have any sense of why people are doing this? I mean, are they just exhilarated to see the word approval? It's not even approval, it's conditional approval, by the way. I think people lose sight of that. When I get a letter that tells me conditional approval, I'd be a little bit nervous, I mean, until I have plane tickets. I don't understand. Yeah. And so one of the things I hope to get from you is, since you're in these groups, why are people reaching this conclusion? Are they simply ignoring me? What am I missing here, Reuben?
So what I'm picking up is that the people, we are all human at the end of the day. And I think it's a point in Afrikaans, hulle sê, jou ore sit op jou gat, means your ears are sitting on your ass. And that's what I'm picking up, is what's happening, is people, it gets to the point where we're not listening to what you're saying, because you are, at the end of the day, you've got the most advice for us to be able to move forward in these programs. And I think what gets to the people is, because everything happens so quickly when it comes to the interviews, when it comes to your cultural orientation, when it comes to all of those things, because it happens within, let's say, 60-day period, they feel that, okay, and then it's like a rush. So I feel the people are living on a moment of, okay, I see the people are going, my stuff is moving just as fast, I'm going to be going in the next month. And I'll be honest, I was also one of those where every week I'm like, this is my week. I'm getting my tickets this week. Okay, that didn't happen. Right, then you go into a little bit of a dip. You go a bit sad. And then you see messages, people are getting messages again, and they're saying, oh, they got tickets, they got this. Then what happens is the people are starting to collect themselves into groups of time periods. When I say time periods, meaning groups, for example, your September, October, November, Decembers, those people, there's groups that's getting created, and they all trying to create a timeline with each other to say, okay, you got your approval on so-and-so date, mine was 2 days after yours, you getting your ticket now, that means, wait, maybe 2 days I'll be getting my ticket. So they're creating we're all creating our own
Reuben, I think what you're saying here, Reuben, well, we may not be saying it, but I'll say it, is people are kicking their own goals. That's what's going on here. They're creating their own. Yeah. And look, I do have empathy, and I appreciate it. And I don't want to hurt feelings here. And some people will take their toys and throw out of the pram and leave the chat, but that's your personal shortcoming if you do that, because it's not direct to anybody. But again, I've been advising against making these mistakes. These are huge mistakes. And I appreciate where you're coming from. But I've also said over and over and over again, every case is different. Just because someone else is going doesn't mean you're going. So let me ask this question, and this is a hard question. Reuben, thank you for wanting to come on and talk about this. But let me very quickly, because I saw that, and not to pick on someone, Rennie USA said, we're a huge group that applied in November, and we're still even waiting USCIS. What do you mean by huge, Rennie? If you don't have to answer the question. How do you know how many people? You don't know, because you're in Facebook group and WhatsApp groups, which are also full of people who are trying to undermine this program, not just legitimate refugee aspirants. And so how do you determine what huge is? And also, Reuben, now this is a very direct question, and I'm sure that you have empathy, but a lot of people come across in my program that seem to not really give a flip. What about the tens of thousands of people from February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September? All we hear about is a group of people, and this is not my feeling. I'm just saying that this is the impression that some people are getting. So if people get their feelings hurt, take a chill pill. Take a Quaalude, calm down, take a toke off that dogga, okay? Here you go. Listen, all we hear is squawking and complaining as if the people in October, November are somehow more special than other people. And this is one of the reasons why some people have difficulty with empathy for this, because a lot of people are creating a situation. Reuben, you didn't take that the wrong way. I think you understand the picture I'm trying to paint.
I actually have a question upon that.
Go ahead.
Be honest, I have a question upon that, where my question comes to now, like you stated, the people that were in February, March, April, going from there, the people that had interviews then, what happened with them? They are completely also, they wrote radio silence. You haven't heard anything of them. And you've just opened something in my head to make me realize that, you know what, it isn't just this 4 months, the last 4 months of the year. We're looking at the whole entire year from the get-go, when President Trump announced it and said, here we go, we're running this program. And you've just actually opened up in my head to realize, but it's not the last 4 forgotten, or the last 4 months forgotten. It's a whole year that people are probably sitting and waiting, and you don't hear anything from them. What has happened to those people?
Well, and I can answer some of that for you, Reuben. And I've told people, unfortunately, all I can advise is patience while we try to push the U.S. government and its contractor to sort this out. But let me give the example very quickly. My friend, who lives in the Western Cape, has a very legitimate case for past racial persecution, very serious instances, and he was part of the pilot program. He flew his own expense up to Pretoria, went there, did the interviews amongst the first 100 people. Now remember, 59 came over, despite, once again, the BBC reporting yesterday erroneously 68. It was 59. The 59ers came over. He was not in that group. He did the interview. Okay. He did the interview last year. I think it was in March when they did this, if I remember correctly. And he's never heard from them again until February 19th of this year. A full year later, he finally heard from them. And he was in the pilot program. They only took cases in the pilot project that were serious enough that they could make the argument that these people need to escape persecution. Keep that in mind. Yes. This was political. The very beginning. The first batch of people could not be people that had a weak case. So everyone that was brought up there based on their email and their initial investigations after they looked in their cases had a serious case. Yet this gentleman, a year later, finally get contacted February 19th. He went up and did his interviews in early March, and now it's a month later, radio silence. So my point, this is what I'm getting, Reuben. It's not just October, November. That's the group, if such a thing exists, that you're in. And you're agreeing with me that there's a lot more that needs to be looked into here, correct?
Yes. I'm seeing a bigger picture now, as you explained it to me. I don't want to sound like I was small-minded or anything, but or tunnel visioned. But yes, you did bring that. You're making it more sense to me. I'm just starting to also think that maybe in the group from the November, December, that last bit of year with the shutdown area, I feel there is still a little bit of a something happened. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not accusing. I'm just saying I'm calling a duck a duck. I see something happened. I don't know what it is. I'm not an investigator or anything, but there's something that happened. And I'm not saying I'm entitled to answers. I'm not entitled to anything. If anything, I should be going on my knees and thanking President Donald Trump for this opportunity that he has given us. But still, there's still that lingering question in my head, like, what happened in that shutdown? Because that's exactly the time we did our interviews, was within that 30-day shutdown. And then you obviously, within the groups, you I don't go on what they're saying, but I mean, you read what they're saying to each other, and they're saying that one entity or one foundation is fighting the other foundation, and the other foundation is accusing, there's things, crossfires that is happening to each other. It's a very I want the right word, discouraging. It's a moment where I've seen people are even saying they want to pull out of the program because financially to travel to the places the whole time is also cutting their pockets and things, which at the end of the day is not really anybody's fault. But I mean, if you want to do the program, this is what's going to be required from you. And I get that. I fully understand that. It's just there is that moment or that feeling of, listen, what happened in that shutdown area? And then obviously coming again, we had another pause, which I understand they were resetting everything. And then, so what I'm actually trying to get across, I feel like I'm jumping all over the place.
No, it's all right. It's the program is jumping all over the place. So why can't you?
Touche. And so I'm also thinking when the new one got set in, because we did our PRM. Is it the PRM? Sorry, I should remember all these code words.
It was PRM, Population Resettlement Migration.
When we did that one, then when we had gone for our interviews, then the new system came in. Now, did we not maybe get lost in that with the new system that came in? Because on the one site that you have to load your documents and you see the process of it, we that have already gone for the interviews before the new one started, the new program or new pilot program, we had to go with our physical documents to them, and they took it, made their copies, did what they wanted. Another question that comes to mind is with the raids that happened, did our documents not get lost throughout the raid?
All right, let me interrupt there, okay, because that's come up in the chat. Okay, first off, people need to rest assured. Number one, no documents were confiscated or taken from that. And it really doesn't matter because they were all digital. Your cases are all loaded up into a secure system in the State Department. So the raid had no impact on. What the raid had an impact on is the behavior of the South African government in pissing off Washington for violation of the Vienna Conventions. And more importantly, I mean, here's another one. And look, I don't mean to, we're not playing whataboutism, but a lot of people worried about their cases. No one seems to be worried about the physical safety of the man whose passport was compromised, his birth date and his identity potentially being stolen as a U.S. diplomat that day by the government of South Africa.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question.
Yeah, that is a real situation there. Now, there are some real issues, concerns here about these fits and starts. Let's call it that, fits and starts. First off, the Democrats sabotaged America intentionally by not passing a budget, and we were shut down from the 26th of September until the 19th of November. There were no refugees flying to the United States because we didn't have people on this side that could receive you. And I explained that to people. They want to argue with me. They don't know what they're talking about, and eventually they were all proven wrong. They come in here, they lie, they go into groups and lie about me. Then they're proven wrong, they disappear, and no apologies. But that's what happened. So when that happened, there were a lot of people who had tickets, and these are people I had deep empathy for because my government screwed them, royally screwed them. If you have tickets in hand and you're supposed to fly in 3 days and you've gotten rid of your home now because of that, and you've gotten rid of your bucky, you have no way to get around, and now you have a little bit of cash that you have in your pocket to get you started on this side, and then you are told your tickets are canceled, you're sitting in the Western Cape, but you live in Mpumalanga, what are you supposed to do? No one on the planet, to my knowledge, and I would love to be proven wrong on this, no one on the planet beyond me and the people that helped me made any effort whatsoever to help those people. Now, maybe families did, but I'm talking about anyone outside this. So I reached out to Food Socks to get food to people, and we fed a couple hundred people through that program, those folks in that situation. We found a couple places of accommodation for some families, but that's a very difficult thing to do from 6,000 miles away, but we did manage that. So those people deserve our empathy. Everyone should be giving them empathy. Some of them are still in South Africa from that time frame. And then we had a situation in January, for some inexplicable reason, for a week they canceled flights without even announcing it. And many people had their flights canceled. They're still in South Africa. And then we had the people who had tickets for the 23rd of February up until about the 6th or 7th of March, that group in the same situation. This is an unacceptable development from my government. These people should have been at the forefront, the next people on the plane. They were approved, they had tickets. This is callous indifference.
They should be in the front line, yeah.
Callous indifference to these people, and that is something that my government is failing at miserably, and I don't know why. The case with your situation, those October, November cases where people were processed, okay, we have to make a differentiation because people are putting in statements of interest up until November 4th. In October, they're putting in statements of interest. And RSC is still working during this time frame because they're a contractor. They're not daily government workers, so they still continue. And there are some U.S. people who are still working who are mission essential. So there is processing of people going on throughout October, even though the government is shut down, and into November. There's just no flights. There are no interviews. So the people in October would include people who've put in the statements of interest, and then November 4th, the intake questionnaire. So that would include those people, and also the people you're talking about who had been interviewed, either just before that or right after that. So there's a lot of things that need to be addressed here right now, and I appreciate where you're coming from. All right, so I just want to get that in there. The December 16th raid on Woodmead did not affect your cases from a standpoint of your information missing. I think people have in their mind that I guess I showed up in Woodmead, they had 6 pieces of paper, and it must have been taken by Home Affairs, and now my case is lost. I'm sorry. Yeah. We live in the 21st century. Trust me. I worked in a government that has more digital data than the distance between here and the moon if you take letters printed out. So your case is there. That's not lost. The issue that we don't have an answer to, Reuben, for you and others, is that why is there a backlog? Is there really a backlog? How big is the backlog? Yes. And why are we not progressing through it? Now, having said that, some of those people who had their tickets canceled in September and October, have come over. In fact, many have, but there's still some stuck there. And the same thing for January and some of February now. But this is, I understand, very frustrating for you. So I just want to get that out there about that. People need to stop stressing about 16 December. The only people who should stress about 16 December are the people that were there and suffered trauma because of the criminal actions of the Ramaphosa regime. That's who we should worry. Everyone else shouldn't be stressing. All right, go ahead, Reuben.
Yes. So when what you're saying there, I fully agree with it. Being here, sitting here in this chat with you and having the people look at me through their lives and all watching us, it's quite nerve-wracking. I won't lie. I feel like I'm hesitating on my words. So if people just breathe, just give me a sec. Let me get my stuff together here properly. So the biggest thing is I want to advise people. I feel like the people's voices need to be heard from us here in South Africa that are stuck, that's gone through the process, gone through the program, gone for everything, and we just need to have our voices heard. We just want to find a way to be able to contact someone, or even if we could speak to someone to say, you know what, I'm not saying put us above everyone else. Yes, the cases are different, but let us just have this moment of just show us that there's something happening. Show us that you guys are putting yourself out there. Like we putting ourselves out there. I feel like I'm buggering this up, Colonel. Give me a second. I don't want to speak wrong or sound rude or sound entitled or anything like that, but just us as South Africans, we have this tendency of we love to have feedback on things, and when it goes radio silence, then everybody just starts jumping left, right, and center, and then how can I say, accusations are made, and this is happening, and then petitions are being written up, and all these type of things are starting to come, are snowballing, can I say. And I just feel there is a lack of communication, and I don't know where it is. I can't find it or anything, because I don't have that power to do that. That's why I reached out to you, so that we could maybe come together and find a way to get us that are left behind. And I'm not talking only about September, October, November, December. I'm talking about from when the program started. From the time that the program started, with every single refugee person that has not gotten a feedback, if I'm denied, tell me I'm denied so I can carry on with my life. Because, for example, now you move from places to move closer to the airports and stuff, so that you are able to travel. The second you get that notification, listen, you need to move in the next 5 days. You're flying out, and that's how quick it is. When you get your tickets, you got 5 days. I've heard of 5 days. I haven't heard of more. When you get your ticket, then you really need to liquidate everything and get out. Now, within that time of waiting for tickets, because that's where I am. I'm at that stage of I'm waiting for tickets. And now with that, how do we get work? I moved, for example, closer to the airport. I get work now, and then within 2 weeks I fly. You know, it's those moments that you find hesitating, and I feel a lot of people are also in that moment of hesitation to start something now and carry on with their life, and then they get the approval, then they have to go. And then I also understand you're in a refugee status. So you're leaving your country behind. Everything and anything, you're leaving it behind. That is the whole status of it. I get that, fully understand it. But it's very difficult for a South African, because a South African has pride. We have massive pride within us. And for us to just start a work and then leave it, it shows a bad image on you. So those are the type of things that we need to look at, that instead of being radio silence, like you've said yourself before, where are we declined, are we approved, we need to know, are we declined, okay, I'm declined, let me dispute it, I can't dispute it, then they're not allowing me, okay, I will carry on with my life as is, and just, you know, build my future up for my family and so on. We really want to get to a point where we're getting a better communication from the founders or the foundations or whoever's, how can I say, the main messenger, can I put it, the guy in the middle. That's something that really we really, I think I'm speaking on behalf of every refugee person that has not gotten more feedback after the interviews. We just want feedback, Colonel.
That's not unreasonable, Reuben. So 3 points on this. Let me jump in here. 3 points. And again, if people's feelings are soft, if they're going to be Karens, then maybe you should leave now, because the tears are going to start. Okay, so just all right. So Reuben, all right. So first off, someone mentioned that they went through the process. The son went through the process, and then they were there. Their tickets were canceled, which is horrific, and then they were put under review. Ladies and gentlemen, as I have stated from the outset of this program, you are not an approved refugee until you arrive in America. Understand that. You are. That is your letter doesn't say approval. It does not. All these people say have approval. None of you have an approval letter. You have conditional approval. Your case can be reviewed at any time for any reason, any suspect reason. Now, it can also be reviewed for administrative purposes because of funding or because of relocation or because of this agency being idiotic and not cooperating. So it's a conditional approval, and you can go under review at any time. And if, not that anyone here has done it, if you've defrauded our government, you can be sent back at any time, even when you're here. So let's get that out of the way. For some reason, that is not sinking in. People need to listen to the words I'm saying. It is a conditional approval. A conditional approval, which can be removed at any time. The government has not signed a contract with you promising you refugee status. It said that based on the information we have at this point, we are going to give you a conditional approval that you can come over here. Anything could stop it, so that people understand.
Sorry, Colonel, I think the best way to explain that part is if a person goes and does financing for a home or for a car or something, you get a pre-approval. But then they validate your documents with pay slips, bank statements, ID, so the FICA documents come in place.
Right.
So
by the same token, when I hire someone, I ask for references, and then I investigate by speaking reference. Doesn't mean I listen to what the references tell me, but you get a sense of a person, even if you talk to someone who has a grudge against you or is dishonest. So it's the same thing. It's conditional. Now, I just hired someone to be a club manager 2 weeks ago, and she has a 90-day conditional employment, depending if she makes progress. So that's people have to get. Now, the next thing is, and this is the problem with groups, Reuben, okay? And this is not direct to you, but you said you don't know if anybody's had more than 5 days. I have interviewed here on this program close to 50 families already, or individuals, and we've heard anywhere from nearly 3 weeks, in a rare case, someone had 3 weeks when they got their tickets, 3 weeks prior, to 2 weeks being the case, but we've also seen as few as 3 days. The Stoltz
Yes.
family was told 3 days before, and they had a big business in Pretoria they had done wine. So they basically just abandoned it, left it behind. And then so the problem is that's bad. And then we also have a situation, Reuben, of the lady in PE who was called on the day that she was supposed to fly, but had never been notified by RSC. They called her 4 hours before the flight and said, we need you at the airport. And she's like, when? Now. Where? Cape Town. You realize we live in PE, that's a 10-hour drive? Because RSC never sent her the email with her tickets. So there are clearly problems here. And then the third thing I want to talk about here, and this is where I'm playing devil's advocate, Reuben, okay? So you might chuckle on this one, or maybe you'll get tears, I don't know. I agree with you. I do not disagree that South Africans expect feedback. But I'm sorry, do you live in South Africa? Have you ever been to Home Affairs? Have you ever tried to get a driver's license and renew it? Have you ever tried to get a birth certificate from any? Have you ever done anything with the government of South Africa and you expect answers? No. My response is South Africans are accustomed to never getting answers. So why are they so demanding? Fair enough, but why so demanding now? No. So look, it's the bottom line. You're correct. Is communication is non-existent. And it's also confusing. People give you confusing information. I get that. So anyway, all right. So I just need to get those 3 points in there and play devil's advocate there. Anyway, go ahead. Back to you, Reuben.
Yeah. So with all those being said there, so now for me, I feel we need to really find a way. Like when I was saying we want feedback, and when you said now about Home Affairs and that, let me explain this. We went and did an unabridged certificate for my wife, a birth certificate. They ended up putting my surname on my wife's birth certificate. So yeah, we got the understanding of what a great situation we have there. But I think what happens is South Africans are at the point of when we saw this program roll out and it came out and the responses and the feedbacks and things were going so quick. So I'll be honest, I think us South Africans, we look at you guys in America as we actually look up to you guys because of the higher technologies you guys have, the quicker responses you guys have. People that are working, for example, you working till 1, 2 in the morning, people are carrying on. We're in South Africa by 8 o'clock. If I haven't eaten my dinner by 8 o'clock and I'm in front of the TV, then you've done your day wrong. Where in America, you guys are pushing and you guys are carrying on and doing what the best you guys can. And in our head, we're expecting, okay, we're going to get immediate responses. And I think that's what's troubling and getting a lot to the people, is the fact that we are standing in limbo where we are waiting for answers and we're not getting the answers. And then I feel it's just I don't know how to actually bring this better across, but there's people that are going for more interviews, which I can think is a great thing. If they're getting more interviews done, that just tells me that yes, they're working on your case. Then also looking back at it's just the time periods. I think what's getting to everybody is that we're trying to all work on a time period with each other to try and get us to to link our time periods together. I mean, I'm looking now at this one group here they just trying their best to put the times together, and how do you do that? Every case is different, and I feel us as the refugees, South African refugees that are sitting behind and hoping for the ticket, I think we need to look and not ramp each other up, if that's the right words to use, not to make people go unnecessarily excited or just push past to this point where, again, you're selling everything before you've got any confirmation. You're counting your eggs before they hatch. That type of situation that I've been picking up, that we as refugees really need to stop. It really needs to stop. Again, I'm just seeing it 5 to 6 months down the line. We didn't hear. It's very, very dampering to see these things. What I can say is don't let go of your assets. Like I say, I want to use this time to actually be more informative than anything else. I feel that we need to really look at not, how can I say? Sorry, I just got a thing that threw me off here. But we really need to not ramp each other up. We need to be calm, work with the system, and allow the system to work with us. And if what I noticed a lot of people are also crying about is because of the new pilot program that came in, that people are saying, okay, but they applied now in January, February, they're flying over. People that are in April last year applied and are still sitting with no answers. So have we, let's say the people from 2025, have we been lost in the system? Have we done something wrong? But you can't tell me that over 500 applicants did something wrong.
Well, but
it's not impossible.
your question is valid, but again, I'm not buying this 500 thing because we're talking about tens of thousands of people, and so we have to come back to that. So it's not just 500, but there is a problem here. So two things came
I'm
up.
aware of 500.
Well, that's 500 people in Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups that are claiming themselves to be a group. There are probably many more people who haven't joined your Facebook groups or the WhatsApp groups who aren't sharing.
Yes.
So that number may be far larger. We don't know. This is anecdotal information, not based on data. The only people that have the data is the U.S. government, which they're not sharing publicly. So we have no idea how large or how small these groups are. So there's a couple things came up here in the chat, Reuben. First off, and this is one that some of this is a self-inflicted wound. Remember that this is a contractor that is supposed to be receiving and confirming who you are and making first contact. That's under Church World Service, which has a pissy attitude towards this administration, towards the rule of law. And so I've called for them to be investigated. That's a separate issue. And RSC is their subsidiary. RSC has limited personnel. They tried to bring them to South Africa. They applied for a work visa. They were denied. Then, of course, the raid. So they're doing this remotely from Kenya. So that's a problem. Also, you have people that clearly have no understanding of the geography of South Africa. They don't understand the difference between Pretoria and Polokwane and the Northern Cape and the Eastern Cape and the distances involved and the sacrifice made. So that's a problem. But also, this is a self-inflicted wound. I had someone on my program recently whom I interviewed, and she was one of those people that kept sending email after email after email after email after email to them. She must have sent like 60 emails to PRM. Okay, we only have about 20 people working in PRM that are even looking at this program at the time last year. And so this is a self-inflicted wound. Also, people submit multiple intake questionnaires, multiple statements of interest, despite me telling them not to do it. Some maliciously, but some just because they're hard-headed and stubborn boors who don't listen. And they just kept doing this. And so this is a problem too. They still have thousands of things that are duplicate and duplicative that have to be cleared out. That's a problem. But that doesn't explain the long problem. I'm just saying that's what. Now, finally, here's what's emblematic of what's going on here. COOS 2026 stated this very clearly. And this is what I said. This is the incompetence running a program administratively. And if I ran it, heads would roll. 18 days from the time that the ticket was issued before he was notified that he's flying 4 days later. That is bullshit. That is unacceptable. That is 22 days. He could have been notified the day after the ticket was confirmed by email and a phone call, and that's how you do it. You don't send an email, message conveyed, communication over. You send the email with the tickets, then you pick the phone up, you call that individual, and you tell them, did you receive an email? Your tickets are in there. That's how you do business properly. But that did not happen. So on March 23rd, that was the date that his tickets were issued. He flies tomorrow. March 23rd. He only found out Or he flies Monday. He flies Monday. He only found out yesterday, 4 days before he flies, when he could have known 21 days, 3 weeks in advance. That would have given it time to unfold. So I appreciate your anger. I share it. This is unacceptable. This is undue. It's unwarranted. You have people that just have to abandon their things because they have no time to unwind it. It is unreasonable to expect someone to leave everything behind. You're not living in a refugee camp in Kenya where you're happy to leave your crappy tent behind, in your pit latrine. So I'm with you guys on this one, and I hope that U.S. officials pay attention and listen to this, because this performance is unacceptable. If this was a defense contract, and as the contracting officer or the contracting officer's technical representative or the government technical monitor for the State Department, I would have canceled this contract, and I would have gone after this company for damages.
Yes, like you're saying there, that's the biggest thing that's happening. I mean, like I said, so people see now, okay, the system is working quick, doing interviews, doing medicals, doing cultural orientation. So what you're doing is you start downscaling your things because you are prepared to go. So you start downscaling your things, not to the point where you're now living on the street, but some cases I've seen some people have got that to themselves where they literally, all they got is their bag, clothes in their bag, and that's it. But again, also, in a way, it's self-influence. You're not going to now let go of everything. You're not going to let your shelter go and things like that. But some people have done that. And it's gone so bad that they're on the street and they're literally waiting for for that email of the tickets to come so that they can find their ways, obviously, to the airport and get going. So that I feel your power with that as well, Colonel, where they literally send you the email 3 days. Okay, listen, you need to pack up everything and you need to find your way to the airport within the next 3 days. How do you get rid of all your things, and just in 3 days? I feel that as well, where that can be worked on, a little bit of a better push forward to the guys that are doing all the work. And again, I'm not attacking anybody. I want to keep my name clean, but I also need to raise these concerns because I feel like I'm a voice, as you are the voice for us and our but our guide for everything that I feel like I need to just get this out for the people so that they can firstly not make the same mistakes that some people I've made, others have made, where you started selling and downscaling, letting things go, and then you're sitting again, because it can take up to a year. I mean, like you said, there's people that from April only flew out now recently. So we got to keep that in mind for all the refugees that are out there at the moment. Keep that in mind. Do not go and sell your life. Hold on to it until that last minute if you have to. I promise you will thank me later at the end, because you don't want to go through what some people have really, they've destroyed their lives with this whole entire program. Some people are actually leaving the program, Colonel. They're actually leaving the program because they can't afford the travel, they can't afford the weight of it, and then they would go look for work. And there's a lot of implications. Like, for example, with me moving here, for example, to my new location, I had to find work in my area. And as I'm finding work, I would find work, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to commit to this work now because I haven't heard anything from my program for 3 months, 4 months. I haven't even got an email from them. So I think I'm going to just carry on with my life as normal. I guess I'm declined. And then you find the work, and God, praise God, I got a job. I literally got a job yesterday. And I'm going to speak a little bit about, but I've been thrown into the second interview. I got a second interview with the UCIS. So you see that moment of, you get that moment of, like, you don't know where you're going. Are you coming or going? That's the question. Are you coming or going? So you're going to carry on with work and everything is normal. I fully understand that. But then in the back of your mind, you're still sitting with, but I can leave any minute. So that, the process that they've got from where the process is, the starting process is you putting your interest in, and then you wait a couple of months. We waited a long month with the PRM, to be honest, where I'm seeing people now, like I've got family members that did the online questionnaire. I think it's called the online questionnaire.
The intake questionnaire.
The intake questionnaire. Sorry, I'm not the greatest with these, but
no worries.
They've already been contacted within, I think it was a month or so. They got contacted. We waited a couple of months. Understandable. We were part of the first pilot program. I get that. That's fine. They've gone for the interviews. They've gone for their things, and they've done everything. I think they just got cultural orientation to do, and the conditionally approved, and then obviously the further on the steps. Where obviously we've also gone through it. So we just want to know, what is the difference? What is the difference between the two systems? And I think that is a question that might be laying in a lot of people's hearts, is what is the difference between the two systems, meaning the PRM, because the PRM has been closed off now, if I'm not incorrect.
Yeah, that's been
And
closed since May of last year. That's not something.
exactly. So what is the difference now between that system and the new system? What has happened to the old people, the old cases, and what's happening with the new cases? I understand that the people are working on us. That we have not been forgotten. I fully feel that because I got my email yesterday. I feel a bit more uplifted as well. I was like, okay, here's communication. Here's something great. But it took almost November, December, January, February. It's 4 months later. It doesn't sound like much, but if you put yourself in our shoes, Colonel, 4 months can be a lifetime. I promise you, 4 months can be a lifetime. I mean, my daughter's birthday was now recent, and I didn't get to jump, and I couldn't. How can I say? I couldn't spoil my daughter brokenly, because what do? Do I buy all these things, then I have to go over, and in 3 days I have to sell everything? So there's those type of, it's life milestones that is like it feels like it's holding a lot of the refugees back. And it's boiling again down to, I don't want to sound like a broken recording tape here, but it boils down to communication. What happened to the lost cases of 2025, the cases that never went over, that never got approvals, or never got declinals, or never got answers? What happened to them? And what's happening with the new cases that are coming in, and the people are going over with breeze? It looks like we're having a struggle where the new cases are, they've ramped that program up so perfectly that they have missed us now. Can I say it like that?
You can say it like that, but there's an assumption here on the part of a lot of people, and it appears to be an assumption on your part too, that, and without you stating it, that the advent of the intake questionnaire meant everybody else behind that was screwed. You're just forgotten about. But that's bullshit. That's simply not true. It's simply not true. Otherwise, how did my friend from a year ago get called on the 19th of February and has gone and done his medicals and interviews since then? He is from that time. So people need to flush that horse manure from their brain. Now, that doesn't mean there's not a problem, but that's the assumption. That's the 800-pound gorilla in the room that nobody's talking about. That all of you in the back of your minds, I guarantee you, are probably saying, that intake questionnaire screwed me. I did the statement of interest and I got called and now I'm just sitting here. Well, maybe not. But certainly I can tell you anecdotally, in multiple cases, it's clearly not entirely true. It may have had an impact, but we don't know. And here's what I'm going to tell everybody now. Worrying about other people's cases, worrying about what happened in January, worrying about what happened is not going to change your situation, number one. Number two, clearly the U.S. government is not going to answer your questions. So that's a reality. Number three, navel gazing and complaining and being frustrated is not going to improve your situation. And for the people who want to cry at me and yell at me and leave my channel, just leave right now. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm not trying to tell you you're not special. I'm not here. We're not playing t-ball here. This is a real sport. And also, people need to temper their expectations, which is what I've been saying all along. This is not an immigration program. Nobody is owed anything. Yeah. But you are owed reasonable treatment. I'll say that. And I think reasonable treatment is feedback on your case at some point. If, for instance, let me just pick your case. I don't know the details of Reuben because I've forgotten already, but because I think you did the PRM. But let's say you did the PRM. Let's say you actually got called in August, okay? You got called in August. You went and you did in September medicals and you did your screening and that's all done. After 60 days, if nothing is developed in your case, in my view, you're owed at least a courtesy communication that we're still investigating your case. We don't have a final adjudication on it. We'll get back with you as soon as we can. That would be reasonable, I would think. And I think that maybe that would be fair to do to everybody, but you're not getting that. You're not going to get it. So I think that people need to really listen to the advice I've given all along. Continue your life as best as possible. And I get what you're talking about. And some people are probably going to give you a hard time because you said you can't get gifts for your kid. Don't pick on Reuben, okay? I get his point. The milestones in life, the things, matric. Do I go to university? Do I go to school? But some people are making very dumb decisions. You not giving gifts to your child that she's going to have to abandon a couple weeks later makes sense. But people in January not putting their kids in school because they're waiting to leave because they received an email that said be prepared to leave in 2 to 4 weeks is unrealistic. Put your children in school. You may be waiting 10 months in the queue before you go. Maybe we reach the cap that everybody's paranoid about, and maybe they don't exceed the cap. What then? You have to wait for the next fiscal year. So there's 2,500 slots left under the cap for this year for 7,000 for South Africa. If in the next 2 months we bring 2,500 people over here, that means we get to June, July, August, September. We got 4 months, 1/3 of the year, and no refugees will come over. So why did you not put your kids in school in January? You've now screwed your children. So people, please continue your life. You are owed better responses, but you're not going to get them because you're angry or you're bum hurt or you want to attack Colonel Wyatt. None of that's going to solve your problem. And for people who assume, and I see in here, one of my loyal viewers put in this like 5 times in here, Colonel Wyatt, why can't you do this? I am doing that. I have spent so much time engaging with the U.S. government behind the scenes, and I'm not the only one. There's other people trying this too. To make an assumption that we're not doing it is unfair.
Yeah,
this is not my problem. This is not my crusade. This is not my case. Yet I've given it more than anybody. So, and I'm not, this isn't for me. What I'm saying is that don't assume that people aren't trying to fix this. And even people in the program are trying to fix this. What we've discovered, Reuben, on this end with my conversation with the director of the Office of Refugee Resettlement is that as a consequence of my actions and a few other people's actions, the mess in the U.S. with these agencies is being addressed. And I can tell you that I've seen feedback on at least 25 cases where people complaining about their treatment by refugee agencies are now being addressed because there's a feedback mechanism. That does not exist on your end. And I don't think it's forthcoming, Reuben, because with tens or hundreds of thousands of applications, there just isn't the resources to respond to everybody in a timely fashion. But when you have a case, there ought to be somebody that has a file, electronically or paper. Reuben, okay, here's his date. Okay, wait, okay. It's been 2 months. Let me double check his case. Okay, they're outstanding for, I can't share with, outstanding for this investigative thing. All right, let's send an automatic email to him. Your case is still under review, okay? That's a reasonable expectation. But people need to not hear what they want to hear. I know that people are claiming that they got told a cultural orientation, you leave in so many days and be prepared. Stop listening to that. Now you need to listen to me. Are you all listening? The 685 people here right now, and Reuben too, listen to me. Listen to me. Continue your lives as best you can, all right? Do not get rid of the things that you have to have, a vehicle, a job, a place to live, until you have tickets. And if you get screwed because of a government shutdown, or because they pull your tickets at the last minute, reach out to me and we will help you. Don't be proud and stubborn. Well, we'll make it our own. And then 3 months later, you come back to me because you're still waiting. Well, now I have no money. Well, you would have money if you listened to me and let me supply you with food. Listen to me. Move on with your lives. When it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. No matter how much belly aching you or I do about it, that is not changing. But rest assured, there are people, advocates, working hard behind the scenes on your behalf to fix this cock up, because that's what it is. Anyway, and so that's what I want to say about that. Reuben, I didn't hurt your feelings, did I?
No, not at all, Colonel. In Afrikaans sê ek is nogal 'n sterk boertjie. Ek wat alles met 'n knippie sout.
Okay, well, you're a strong boer. I got it, strong boer. But
I'm 100%. Look, at the end of the day, Colonel, it's the truth hurts, right? And if you're gonna take something of the truth and you're not gonna make something out of it, or you're gonna not listen to the truth and work with the truth, I'm kicking myself because of small mistakes that I've made, and I did hear you say it, but I didn't listen to you, and I got the little back end of it. But the main thing is. We need to listen to you. We need to listen to what's happening. Everybody needs to just take one massive, big, chill pill, go sleep it off, and just relax, guys. Everybody, things are going to come on its time. And I'm seeing it a lot in the groups. Look, there's a lot of faith in the groups where people are saying, it's God's time, it's God's time. I understand that, and I believe that as well. Fully. Nothing happens in life without God's timing. But at the same time, we also need to put effort into everything that we do. I mean, God will provide, but we need to put the effort. And I feel this is just that one way of, I've left it in God's hand, and something just told me, we need to get this going. You know, we just need to get this, let's just get a little bit of a voice out to the people that are sitting in the limbo cases, in the cases that we don't know what's going on, we don't have the feedback or anything like that. So this just will give, I hope, it will give the South Africans that are in the past years cases that haven't gotten feedback, haven't gotten answers, haven't even gotten a second email to say you're going to do a second interview with the USCIS. You know, those people, we really want you guys to just take a chill pill. It will come on its time. If it's meant to be, also it's meant to be. But we still reverting back. I feel like, again, I'm just sounding like a record that's spinning on the same thread, is for us to get feedback. If we can find a way that we can initiate someone to sit there, I'll do it even. I'll freaking do it. Sit there, and if I see a case has been longer, like you say, longer than 60 days, and all these, I get 30 of them a day, or let's say 150, because when you go to the interviews, there's a lot of people. There's a serious amount of people that are there, families. So let's say 150 cases a day. I will personally sit and email them every single day and tell them, listen, you guys are still under review, or you, even though they see it on the My Case, but give them a little bit of a comfort zone to say that we are working on it. We are coming for you.
That is not unreasonable, Reuben. Let me address something in the chat very quick, and we're going to have to wrap up here. I'll give you a chance to get a final word in here in just a moment. God willing, not picking on you, but your comment says, how is it possible to sit back and relax? We don't want to feel special. That's fair. Donald Trump opens way for us. That's fair. The agents are letting the U.S. government down. Well, I agree with that. But how is it possible to sit back and relax? Well, if you'd approach this the way I said all along, first off, on February 6th of 2025, you had no program. Australia doesn't want you. The UK doesn't want you. Ireland will kick you out. Canada doesn't want you. You're not brown enough. You're not from India. They don't want you. New Zealand doesn't want you. Germany doesn't want you. None of them will take you. But on the 7th of February, Donald Trump opened up a pathway for people to come over here. It's not a right. It's a privilege. It's an opportunity, and you should approach it as such. Just like when you put out resumes, you throw feelers out there hoping you'll get a job. Do you sell your house and quit your job because you put a resume out there? Just put this in this perspective for a second. Think about this. If you are looking for work, you send resumes out to a dozen or 100 companies. You don't quit your job and wait for someone to give you a job. If you put your statement of interest in, or your PRM email, or your intake questionnaire, why would you quit your job because someone says, be prepared to leave? Why would you quit your job? Why would you get rid of your vehicles? Use good judgment here. Do not get yourself in a self-inflicted own goal situation. It is against your interest. You must use good reason. And people that do this, it's difficult to have empathy when people do not listen. And I have never been vague about this. I have never been unclear about that advice. You must use good judgment here. That said, if the government screws you, and you're only screwed if you had a ticket and was pulled, short of that, nobody's screwed. I'm not entitled to be a general officer. Frankly, I should have been a general officer, but there's no place in the Army in my career field for a general officer. So that was not going to happen. So too bad for me, all right? You are not entitled to this. It is not yours to have. If it's granted to you, it's granted to you. And you must take that approach, okay? I'm not trying to tell you people you're not worthy. What I'm trying to tell you is that must be your mindset. Also, you do what you want to do. But I'm going to tell you what. I am not in WhatsApp groups. I am not in Facebook groups because of this very reason. We're this, we're that, and all the bad advice and everybody telling people what's going on. They don't know what they're talking about for the most part. My best advice to all of you is to stay out of the groups. Do what you want to do, but that's my advice. Please listen to the things I say. Even in a broadcast, when I make a statement, people in chat say that I said something completely different I never said. Please listen to the words I say. If it's unclear, ask the question, because people have asked it 150,000 times before. I'll answer it as best I can. Do not get yourself overworked. The cultural orientation, ignore that nonsense. Ignore it. First off, they're accustomed to cultural orientation for people living in a camp in Kenya that fled Somalia, or in Uganda and fled Sudan. So just ignore the part about, get ready that you're leaving. Declutter your lives. The moment you decide to do this program, declutter your lives. Get rid of all the crap you don't need. Because first off, you don't need it, so why do you have it? Once it's gone, it's out of the way. Then you can deal with the things that matter and important. Have a go bag. You must have a go bag. Go ahead and get things together. Maybe it's not your favorite clothing, but you don't need to bring 6 suitcases of clothing. We got more clothing than the world has in America. You get everything you need here. But have a go bag, a toothbrush, a toothpaste. Yes, have all that stuff there ready so that when you get the call, when you get tickets, you have fewer things to prepare for, okay? You're not spazzing out, especially if you get stuck in a 3-day situation or 4 days like Koos got here, even though his ticket came 3 weeks before. So this is what you must do. Please listen to what I'm saying. Please hear what I'm saying, not what you want to hear. And if your feelings are hurt, I'm tired of dealing with Karens. You know, people need to grow up and put their big boy pants on. I've heard forever, boer muck and plot. But I've heard a lot of people complaining about stuff that they shouldn't complain about. Now, the people who have no answers, been waiting a long time, I appreciate what you're saying. I'm not viewing what you're saying as complaining. I'm viewing what you're saying as a legitimate complaint. All right, so don't take that the wrong way. All right, Reuben, I really have to go, so I'm going to turn it over to you. Before you do speak, I want to thank you for coming on. You've put yourself out there. I didn't ask you to come on. You asked to come on. I think this was a helpful conversation. And also, I think you offered some good advice for people, too, based on your frustration and your experience of all this stuff. So with that, Reuben, I'm going to give the floor to you. And rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, this link will be shared with officials in the U.S. government. Whether they watch or not is not up to me, but it will be shared with them. All right, so Reuben, go ahead. The floor is yours for a couple moments.
Thank you. So, yeah, just want to obviously thank you, Colonel, for giving me the opportunity to bring these points up, these things that I've picked up amongst us as South Africans, what's happening between us. I know after this, I already heard my phone going off crazy there. I know for a fact I'm going to be getting attacked left, right, and center, asking why didn't I do this, why didn't I do that, why didn't I do that? But that was not the point of this. This was to bring information to us as South Africans and just bring up the point of communication to us as South Africans. So it's bringing up the point of don't let go of your life, of home, cars, things like that. Don't do that. Keep that as long as you can, until the last moment that you can. The other point is to bring up is that we as South Africans are really requesting that we start getting some sort of a feedback, some sort of a message. We're not asking lick our asses. Sorry if I'm allowed to say that word, sorry. But we're not saying come and wipe our bums and do this for us. We can't do anything, our hands are like this. No, all we're saying is just give us that courtesy call, just to say, relax, we're on it, we're working on it. And then for the other people that are going to probably be showing fire towards this whole video, good luck for you guys, please. I really expect you guys to be a South African and be humbled. This is just information that we're trying to get across to all the refugees, so that we all can go to America and all go smoothly. This is not an attack on anybody. I'm going to say again, it's not an attack on any entities that are working with the program, and this is not, how can I say, I'm not bad-mouthing anybody. I'm just bringing things that I'm seeing as a South African, as a citizen, amongst my fellow South Africans, things that I've picked up and I've seen, and I just felt that it needed to be voiced. And I hope that we can just move forward from it and just the people can start relaxing. I understand we need to push and get, the people want to get things done. They like to get things done, and then if it's done, it's done. It's finished. But the process of the wait, I think, is catching a lot of people, and I don't want to sound tedious or anything or stupid, but just be patient, guys. Be patient, carry on with your life. For last point I want to say is, for example, you're a 40-year-old man. You've been living in South Africa for 40 years. You've worked in South Africa for, 22 years. Why now all of a sudden, a year later, after you've found out that you could go into a refugee program, now if I'm coming right across, where you're now all of a sudden in this mindset of, it has to happen now. It has to happen now. I can't live here anymore. It has to happen now. And then you let go of everything in your life. You've been living in South Africa your whole life. Just carry on as normal.
All right, Reuben, thank you very much. Also, people putting comments in here about people flying through the program. Stop sharing your anecdotal nonsense. No one's flying through the program. Yeah. No background investigation gets done in 2 weeks. That's poppycock. Yeah, that's utter nonsense. Now, you may have people claiming that they were contacted. They were contacted and they've been interviewed, done medicals. Fine, but they're not done. Anyway, all right. So, Reuben, thank you very much. I'll let you drop off here and I'll wrap up so I get in before I get fired from my job.
Perfect. Thank you, Colonel, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. All right, folks, that's Reuben in South Africa. We had some technical difficulties with his communications on his end. Let me put him in the waiting room just to help him get out there. Oh, he found his way out. Okay, good. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to leave a like button, a like if you don't mind. And again, hopefully this was illuminating for some folks. Stop with the anecdotal nonsense. None of you have the data. Not one person in this conversation, including me, has the empirical data necessary to make these claims. You're talking about anecdotal stories. Now, I do have some data because I've done research and interviewed lots of people, and I've been in contact with, well, probably about 1,600 refugees or more at this stage. All right? So someone made a very cogent comment a short while ago, and that is, you know, if you want to come to America and you want to immigrate here, have you tried that? Do you think that's a 3-month or 6-month period? Do you think you get feedback on that? And I come back to the point where Ernst von Sale, who'd been to America before, a perfectly reasonable guy, put in a visa request to come to America to attend a conference. He waited over 4 months with no response for his visa. This is before the refugee program. 4 months from the government. And that's not some contract, that's the government. Eventually his visa came through, but the conference was already passed. So people who've put in their stuff from October, November, and we're talking 5 months from now, you're in a refugee program, which requires intensive background investigations, medical reviews, adjudication processes. They must find a place that can take you and the size of your family on this end, an agency. Many of the agencies are disengaging from this, and they must have the resource to do this. So let's put a little perspective on this, okay? All right, thank you all so much. Have a good day. And I never cried more in my 62 years on earth. I appreciate everything you do. God willing, I'm sorry you're crying. I hope you're not crying. And I hope that those who want to get out, get out. Again, I'm not encouraging you to leave. I'm not encouraging you to stay. Just trying to bring you the information as best we can. All right, with that, folks, I really got to get going before I get sacked. So you guys take care and have a lovely day. It's not a problem. I'm not going to get sacked, but I still need to get back. I feel that white Anglo-Saxon Protestant guilt of not being where I'm supposed to be. So we'll catch you guys later. God bless. Be sure to hit the like button. Share this video around, okay? And once again, my thanks to Reuben, who reached out to me. And let's not attack Reuben. Reuben was very honest and very forthcoming. And also, he didn't whine, which was nice. I appreciate that. All right? Cheers, everybody. God bless.